Mr. Singhania, thank you very much for speaking to India today. We are really privileged to have you speaking to us. I must say we are meeting in rather stressful times given the developments over the last few days. From your perspective, sir, how do you see these developments of the last few days?
That's a very difficult question, because one hears of such incidents quite frequently. But I hadn't hoped I'd have to see this in my own family. It's difficult to describe what one goes through when you see your own family going through this kind of stress. I can only pray to God He helps to solve these issues.
Sir, you have yourself also undergone, stressful times with your son Gautam. The book release itself, your second book, the last one, also, there was a lot of, what would I say? Controversy around that before its release. How do you see what transpired then? And do you see that as a kind of pattern which is playing out?
Well, it's rather embarrassing for me to comment on my own actions. But as far as I know, what I have written is absolutely true. Nobody can challenge any of the contents of my book. And I don't think the language of my book, because it's a very elementary English language. There are no hidden words, there are no hidden meanings. It's a very simple pouring of the heart. Who was it addressed to? Maybe to many parents like me, asking them to think very carefully before they give away everything to their children. By all means, give what you want to. I'm not telling you don't give. I'm only saying give it after you're gone, after your death. Don't give it in your lifetime, because you may have to pay a very heavy price.
So in your book you called it perhaps the greatest mistake of your life in that sense. In your book you called it the greatest mistake of your life. Mistake of your life, what transpired in terms of your having to give away. And that is why you probably say that parents should take a lesson out of that. Coming to the recent developments, Mr. Singhania, you have clearly chosen to sort of stand beside Nawaz Modi Singhania. And and she's of course very close to you and has, you've stood like a pillar of support. How do you see, what will be the next course of action from here in what is transpiring between your son and his wife?
Sir, it is not my business to interfere in what two grown-up people are likely to go through. I offered to help, but Nawaz said, no, Papa will handle it ourselves. I respect that. So I don't want to interfere where I'm not wanted. It's better let them handle it. She also comes from a very famous and honorable legal family. Her father is 93 years old, very senior advocate and solicitor. She is herself an advocate, though she was never practicing. So if she ever needs me or needs my advice, she is most welcome to come to me. I'll give her the best I can. But if she wants to do it herself, I'm not going to interfere. I think they have a right to live their life the way they want. All children should have that right.
So if she comes to you in the event if she comes to you saying, we have exhausted our options in terms of trying to get into an amicable settlement, would you then be open to speaking to your son about what is going on?
My first answer would be yes. I'd be open to meeting him. My second answer is that meeting him has no meaning because he won't listen to me. And if I say something which he doesn't like, he may scream at me, he may abuse me, he may scold me. He does all these kind of things. So I would probably try to keep away as much as I can.
But of course, you will be, giving your moral support to your daughter-in-law, as you have said very clearly that.
I will give my support to my daughter-in-law, not to my son.
And coming to your son and the earlier skirmishes and problems he has had with you and the current problem, sir, do you think, how would you look at him from a father's lens? Do you think he is prone to these fits of rage, or how do you describe this? Because at the business end, the company is fairly all right, and how would you look at his personal nature? Because this seems to be a recurring theme in the family.
Sir, I am not a psychoanalyst. It would be unfair to expect me to analyze his behavior. Maybe it was always there, but in the earlier years I think he kept it closely held. And once he got the power of money, which I stupidly gave him everything, it all came out. Maybe it was always a part of him. When I look back, I can see lots of instances where I see bits and pieces of this thrown over all his personality, his character. It's full of all of it. And that's not what I am used to. I also had a lot of money at one time, and power and authority. I don't think it ever went to my head, by God's grace. If it's gone to his head, maybe he's one of those, and there are many in this world, who allow it to go to their head. Money is power, power is ego, ego is arrogance. Simple as that.
So at the core of it, it is the Singhania family, the Singhania name, which is a storied name in Indian business. It is also a name associated with a company like Raymond, which is itself a well-known brand. Do you think all these developments eventually will kind of sully the name of the brand itself?
I am not so sure. The Singhania family itself has become a very small family. Most of my senior cousins and brothers are all gone. Singhania name at one time in the early 40s was bigger than the Birla name. But then we became very much smaller. Birlas became very much bigger. And new names came in. So this is an ever-changing position. My name, my family name, my stature will depend on what I do, not what somebody else does. I think they will have to face their own future by what they do. You are going to judge people by what you know of them, not of their family. So it's a very difficult question to answer. But I think we will all have to make our own name.
True. So Raymond, at the end of it, of course, is a listed company as well. That is where my question essentially comes from. It is a listed company, it has public shareholders. Do you think this whole confusion, because ultimately it also, and I will come to that question in the next one, is that it also talks about shareholding and division of shareholding in a sense. So do you think that rattles shareholders? You've been a veteran, so hence this question to you.
In my opinion, Raymond has a very large number of adult, mature, logical shareholders. They can think for themselves. If they see something bad, they react quickly. So I'm sure in this case also, it will depend on how they see the situation, not as how I see the situation. So Raymond's name will ultimately be dependent on how a larger number of shareholders, bankers, buyers, sellers, there's a whole lot of people involved, will see the situation. There are two things in it. One is how they see the issue itself, and two, how it will affect Raymond's performance. And they are not necessarily the same. So I think it's a very difficult question to answer, whether it will affect the Raymond name. We took a long time in building the Raymond name. It was a very small company making blankets when we bought Raymond in the early 40s. When I took over, it had just started making suitings. Today it's become a world name, worldwide fame. And now many of the things in Raymond, Gautam is selling off. He's breaking up Raymond. It breaks my heart. But I don't interfere. I don't tell him what he should do. He has to live. I have lived my life. I have maybe 2-3 years left. He has many more. So he must make his own call.
But sir, any conflict of this nature at the promoter level, at the promoter family level, will impact shareholders? That's the question I wanted to ask, because that will erode shareholder confidence, no matter how the company is being run. And we have seen these cases in
Sir,
yes.
Even today, when I am nobody in Raymond, shareholders, bankers do call me. They talk to me. I said, why are you calling me? I am nobody now. They said, no, we respect you and what you have done. So because if Raymond name has to go down, it will go down without me. If it has to go up now, it will go up without me. So they are less and less related to each other.
True. So, Nawaz Modi Singhania has also talked about 75% shareholding being of the wealth being distributed between her and the two daughters in the interest of protecting your granddaughters. How do you see that? Do you see that as a sort of legitimate way in which the interests of your daughter-in-law and the daughters can be protected?
Under the Hindu Marriage Act, as I know, I'm not a lawyer, 50% of the husband's asset holding automatically goes to the wife in a separation. And I would have said she may not need to fight for it. A very simple lawyer can get her that under the Hindu Marriage Act. Why is she fighting for 75%? Gautam is never going to give in, because his motto is buy everybody and buy everything and buy. That's what he did with me. I didn't have that kind of money left to fight him. So he bought everything. He'll buy everything. By fighting like this, I don't think she'll get much. Unless she hires maybe a person like Harish Salve, Mukul Rohatgi or Kapil Sibal. There are some big shots in the field. Of course, Harish has become a QC now and is highly respected. But he charges, I think, almost 1 crore of rupees for a meeting. So I don't think she can pay that. But if she can hire a good lawyer, I think there is a good chance that she can get at least what is covered under the Hindu Act. Now, what I don't know is whether, being a Parsi, is she covered by the Hindu Marriage Act. That I don't know. I haven't checked it with anybody. It's none of my business. But I'm sure she would have checked. Her dad will advise her. He's a very respected person. I respect him very highly. She has a brother, Pesi Modi. I don't know, I've never met him. He's a respected lawyer. He will give her good advice. She said he's the only person I trust. So I'll go to him. I said, good luck. I'm sure he'll give you good advice. He won't give you wrong advice. So I am not qualified to predict on what the courts will do. In this country, courts do all things which we don't know. And he is a guy who will buy everybody. So I don't think even the highest courts of this land will be able to resist his tempting offers. Whether he's good or bad or right or wrong, they are unimportant things. What is important is, how much do you want? I'll pay you. Tomorrow morning you'll get it. Maybe today you'll get it. In these conditions, it's very difficult to forecast what can happen in a legal case.
But sir, you surely see this heading the legal way. In any,
Sorry?
You see this heading in the courts in any case. Do you see this as
I don't know, really. Honestly, I don't know. Unless she is advised otherwise, maybe it will go the legal way.
There are mediators who are also trying to help. There are family friends, etc. You must be aware, knowing a lot of people who, in the interest of the family.
Do you know anybody?
No, I mean, not as a journalist, I would not be able to say, but I'm sure there are family friends. She has also spoken of people who have
Gautam
helped.
won't listen to anybody. He will do what he wants. He's not the kind who will mediate or get mediated. He'll do exactly what he wants. And if the law doesn't permit it, he'll buy the law. What is there to buy a law in this country? Everybody tries to buy the law. He buys it successfully. Because if somebody needs 1 rupee, he'll give 5. And people are not going to be able to resist that. I don't know many people who can.
So at the heart of it, do you see now this becoming a battle for succession? Because ultimately it is about, Gautam Singhania and his the family, and it is a succession issue also.
No other family.
That's the point I'm making. So eventually it will be a succession battle. Who will control the company and who will control the shareholding eventually? And
that person will control who he wants it to control. Nobody else will get in. But I think that in time to come, if he loses this battle, which is most unlikely, the company will go to somebody else. This has happened in many families.
But
I don't have much love left because I'm gone already. I'm only sitting here for the time being.
But sir,
He's thrown me out of my own house. So what can I say? He's living alone in a 36-floor building. He has no care or consideration for his parents, for his nephews who were living there. He's thrown everybody out because he can buy everybody.
But it must be paining you very much as a patriarch, as a family a member, and as a father. So, I mean, you have been a pillar of restraint But how do you see this? Is it not very painful, particularly now that this latest thing is
Sir,
happening?
I have never been through this in my life, in my 85 years of life. And in the next 2-3 years, I just have to accept what I'm going through. What's the big deal? I can keep on shouting, keep on complaining, keep on burning my heart. Where does that get me? The best is to keep out and live your life. Whatever little is left, it has no meaning.
You have known so many people in the industry and in the business environment, sir. Are you have people started calling you and telling you that
You see, I have been out of business for a long time, and therefore I have also lost a lot of my business friends. So now very few people call me, and no businessman calls me. I'm a has-been.
No, sir, surely not wouldn't agree
That
with
is
that.
true. Mr. Majumdar, that is true. You better believe it. There comes a time when your life grows, stabilizes, and then gone. It's over. It's a life cycle. You have to live it. You can't change it. I used to teach that as a professor, the life cycle.
Tell me, sir, if you were to be given this wish that decide what do you want, how do you want this whole mess to be resolved, what would you want?
I would say, I hope it gets resolved where nobody gets hurt. But that is impossible.
You also said that you don't see Gautam Singhania losing this battle, whichever way he wants to. But if he loses, then it becomes a big problem for Nawaz Modi Singhania and the daughters. I mean, what do you see as the outcome?
Majumdar Sahab, in my opinion, it's not fair to venture into the ifs and buts of future. When the ifs and buts happen, they are capable of taking care of themselves. Who am I to take care of them?
But your doors and your lines are open for both your daughter-in-law and Gautam Singhania, or only for your daughter-in-law if she seeks your advice?
From my side, I welcome Nawaz any time she wants to come. My wife welcomes Gautam whenever he wants to come. I don't like it, but I don't stop it.
Does he come and see her?
Sorry?
Does he come and see her?
I think he does, but she doesn't tell me everything. I keep out.
But you haven't spoken to him in a long while.
Yeah. I don't. He was here yesterday. I came and walked. He didn't even get up or turn around to see me. He's become a very arrogant person.
And how do you spend your time now, sir? What?
Doing nothing.
I saw you at your computer with your gadgets, with your laptop, with your smartwatch, and you said you're a gadget freak. So what do you do with the gadgets? How do you?
I have no business. He had agreed to give me some parts of the company, but of course for him to back out is a 2-second deal. He backed out. So I have nothing else. I gave him everything. By mistake, I was left with some money on which I am surviving today. Otherwise, I would have been on the road. He'd be happy to see me on the road. I'm sure of that. If he can throw his wife out like this, throw his father out like this, I don't know what he is.
It's a very stressful and painful time for you and the family, Mr. Singhania. India Today, and we all are very, very deeply grateful to you for having spoken to us so openly and so freely and frankly. We really respect that, and thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, sir.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.